Recently, I discovered this fantastic movie. Not it's a classic one. It's called Spirited Away. I'm sure you must have heard about
Oh
it.
man, that's a beautiful movie. Oh,
Yes, and I underestimated, right? I am looking at the poster. I'm looking at the, the typical, the image that you have around these kind of movies. I mean, this is not like really for adults, mostly for consumption of young adults and children. But the as I started watching the film, as I started delayering it, what it meant, what each of the characters meant, what is the journey that that girl is undertaking, is there a different interpretation to that, right? All those things suddenly dawn on me, and it made me so sensitive to things after that. Like, okay, there can be multiple interpretations, there can be a different world inside of a person's head. And yeah, I mean truly deservedly it got the best picture award for that in that year, I guess. And I think one of the first anime films to get that. Truly, yeah. It was made by this legend called Miyazaki. I don't know much about the person,
yeah.
but I've heard that
Yeah.
he's a legend. Yeah,
Hayao
yeah.
Miyazaki is actually
Anything
a
anything
legend.
made by Studio Ghibli is fantastic. You should
I
watch
agree.
them.
Yeah. And the thing
Yes.
is that when you watch a Ghibli movie, although the features and the style is very coherent with other anime that you watch, but the storytelling method is very different from anime. It's not mainstream anime at all. If you watch any Ghibli movie,
Ah,
and it's
okay.
just remarkable storytelling, and something that you will observe in all Ghibli movies, the kind of storytelling they are based in is very stylistic of Japan, where if you have read works from another famous writer from Japan named Haruki Murakami.
Yes,
uh,
I've heard the name, but I've not read anything. Yes.
yes, the stories that the Japanese like to tell are essentially instances that dwell into the mundane.
Right.
They capture pieces of story from a person just spending time on the platform of a railway station and taking that trip in the train to another city and coming back, and they would just capture it. There is nothing climactic happening in it. There is
Right.
nothing unnatural happening in it. It's just a person living his life. Essentially, the term coined for that is a slice of life. And
Right.
Japanese storytelling involves a lot of that. It talks a lot
Well said.
about its culture as well, because there is a lot of loneliness that reflects in this kind of storytelling. And even in Ghibli, you can see that it talks a little bit about loneliness as well. About if you remember the dragon,
Yes. Correct.
uh,
Correct.
about him, his loneliness, and how much he is trying to protect this girl
Right.
from getting too consumed into this world.
And I think it's the reason I like anime so much. Is I think anime like it's very descriptive in how they show Japanese culture, and it's different for every anime. For example, I think Studio Ghibli is very folkloric in its setting and its tales, whereas I guess more regular anime are more contemporary. But you really get a glimpse into what life is like in Japan, and I think it's it's a very interesting thing to see. In fact, one of my favorite animes is it's a comedic anime called Gintama. It's based around these three people who run a kind of a jack of all trades, freelance whatever establishment, and it's
Hmm.
just following them and their slice of life and how they live in this like really poor neighborhood. And it's you meet all of these different people. It's of course they're very like extraordinary events that may happen, but you really get to see the how the characters interact and how they would in in real life if that was the scenario in Japan. And I think that's really really interesting to me to see how the culture is over there.